Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new, and welcome to the last video of Bookmas, the last video for the year. I am going to be taking a little break after Bookmas, so just like a week or so, but this is our last video for Bookmas. I hope you guys have enjoyed Bookmas this year. I had the best time doing all these videos this year. I loved hanging out with you guys so much in a month. It was so much fun. I love talking to you in the comments every single day. It's just honestly been the best. I love the community we've created here. You guys like are amazing. I feel so lucky to have you watch my content all the time and enjoy it and enjoy watching me talk about books, like be just a nerd about books. To conclude Bookmas, the grand finale, if you will, we are going to be tier ranking every single book I read in the year 2025. As of now, it is the 18th of December, the day I am filming this, and I have read 95 books this year, I think. My goal was 80, so I'm happy I reached that. And I did read a lot of like really big books this year, so yeah, I'm overall happy. Like, I'm happy that I read that many. Kind of wanted to get to 100, but I don't know, maybe we can read 5 more books before the end of the year. Last year when I went through every book I read, I did ranking it from worst to best. And whilst that was like a lot of fun, I found it so hard. I couldn't decide what made one higher than the other book or made it lower, whatever. It was a really rigid system and I feel like I had to be really precise. And when there's so many different genres you're reading, it's really hard to rank one book over the other. So I decided this year to do a tier list because I think that'll be fun and probably a little bit more freeing. I can talk about the books a little bit more. I can describe why this book was in this tier. Yeah, I just thought it'd be a fun video to end Bookmas with. So I have created a tier list. My computer is here, which is why I will be looking. We have 7 tiers because I cannot do 5. That was not enough. The top tier, the best tier you could get in, is It Changed My Life. So these are books that genuinely like reconstructed my brain chemistry. They had such an emotional impact on me and I truly think about them every single day. Yeah, they just are like cemented into my brain and I love them so much. We did have 1 or 2 of those reads this year, but that is a very hard category to get into. The next is It's a 5-star. Like, I have absolutely no complaints. This was incredible. I had the best time reading it. It's a 5-star. The next is Almost Perfect. So, you know, I guess anywhere from like 4.5 to 4.75, those kind of books, which I feel like I had a lot of. Books that there was just one thing that didn't give me that 5-star feeling. I had a fun time. I feel like these are my 3.5 to 4-star reads. They were good. They were fun. I'd recommend. Entertained, could be better. I'll talk to you about my ratings as I go through. I'd recommend, I guess, but like, it wouldn't be the first book I'd recommend. A struggles when we get to the, yeah, I feel like these last 2 categories are pretty rare. Like, I don't usually hate books that much, but this one's like, it was, you know, I wanted to DNF at some point. And then not for me is just, you know, yeah, books that aren't for me. Books that just didn't do it for me. So with all that explained, I think we should get into this tier list. This is in a completely random order. I just basically dropped all of my books that I read this year. This is what we're working with, by the way. We have a lot of books. Okay, the first one on this list is Of Flame and Fury. This was a recent read for me by an Australian author, which is really cool. This is about like phoenix racing, so it's like a dystopian fantasy. I would say it's a YA fantasy. I really loved the elements of this one. Like, there was so much I loved about it, but I wanted more from it. I feel like there was a lot of room to expand, especially on phoenix racing. Like, that's such a unique thing. I'm gonna put it in I had a fun time because yeah, I think it was a really good book. I would recommend, but I do wish we got more phoenix, especially because at the beginning of the book, I should not talk this much about every single book, but at the beginning of the book, there was like this whole list of the different types of phoenixes and like the different species of phoenixes that you get. I was just kind of hoping we would delve into that a little bit more, I guess. Next is Sunrise on the Reaping. Okay, I feel like this is so obvious. Oh, why did it go there? There we go. This changed my life. Do I need to talk about this one? This book was absolutely incredible. I could fault absolutely nothing of it. Just like the best prequel you could have had to The Hunger Games, in my opinion. Bawled my eyes out. I cannot wait for November next year. That is going to be a tough time. The Night Circus. This one's interesting for me because I kind of went in ready to love it. Ready for it to be 5 stars. But I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. I found it a little bit slow at times, but I loved the whole atmosphere of it. Better than a fun time. So I think I'm going to put it in Almost Perfect because I did love so many elements of it. I loved the atmosphere, everything like that. It was quite slow. That just took it down. I think I gave it a 4.5 from memory. I really like her writing, actually. I read The Starless Sea by her as well and really enjoyed it. So she's a very like moody author and it's great. Okay, now we have The Prison Healer. Look, I love this trilogy. You guys know I love this trilogy. The first one I'm gonna put in I had a fun time because whilst I love it, I think it is a great start to the series. It gets so much better. Like, it seriously gets so much better. Prison Healer is the start to a YA dystopian series, if you don't know, by Lynette Noni, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I absolutely loved this. So I'm gonna say I had a fun time, and then like you'll see where I go with the rest of the series. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. I'm gonna go Entertained Could Be Better because I did really like the twist to this book, but it felt like, I cannot explain it, but it felt icky. This book felt so icky. And I read some other Alice Feeney thrillers that I absolutely loved this year. And I feel like this one it was just like, it was okay. It's kind of weird because I feel like one of her books I've absolutely loved. And then most of the other ones I've read by her, I've only read 3 or 4, I think, have been kind of like, like they're good thrillers. They're really easy to get through. There's something about them that doesn't make me obsessed with them. Like I want something more. Okay, here we go. The Gilded Cage, second book to The Prison Healer. I'm gonna go Almost Perfect. This was amazing. A great second book in a trilogy, especially a YA trilogy. I was hooked like the entire time. This was one of the best second books I've read, honestly, especially because it was a YA series. I was on the edge of my seat and some plot twists were crazy. This whole series had some crazy plot twists, to be honest. I think I gave that one a 4.75 from memory. His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Again, entertained but could be better. It was like a 3-star, you know? Like these are both just like 3-star thriller reads. I would recommend them if you want to read a book in a night and be quite addicted to it, but I wasn't really satisfied by it. The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. Now this is actually a little novella and was ridiculously good for a novella. I had so much fun. I'm gonna put it in Had a Fun Time because like obviously it was only I think 150 pages or something. You can't create like that incredible of a romance line, but it was so good. The chemistry that was established was so good and I like wanted more. I wanted to see where these characters went. I do recommend reading these novellas. There's a lot of them. There's like a whole collection of them on like Kindle and stuff. And if you just need a little quick brain break in between books or whatever, they're really, really fun. Or if you're like on the train, something like that. Cruel is the Light. This one is the same as Of Flame and Fury with me. I'm gonna put it in A Fun Time because I had a fun time, obviously. No, I had really high hopes for this one. The whole premise of it was really cool. We were set in Rome. It was giving Cassandra Clare vibes. It's a YA fantasy romance. We had this whole undercover aspect, enemies to lovers, forced proximity. I really liked it, but the ending kind of lost me. Like I feel like it was on this really, really great storyline. The plot was going really well, and then I kind of just got lost. And I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, and to be honest, I don't remember too much about it. I remember really liking the magic system, really liking the world. Being set in Rome as a fantasy book is really fascinating in itself. Again, I think there was a lot of promise, and it just didn't quite get to where I was expecting. But Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. This is my first book by Coco Malors, and I will say I read this in like under 24 hours. It was so easy to read. I'm gonna say I had a fun time, even though it's not really the book you'd put in like I had a fun time, because it does cover some really, really sensitive topics. So if you are gonna read it, please look up trigger warnings. When I read this, I really liked it, but upon reflecting, it was one of those books you really like in the moment, and then you think back to it a few days later and you're like, oh, I don't know if it deserved as much praise as I gave it. It was a really good book. It was touched on some really, really important topics, but personally, I found it very, very similar to A Little Life, and it kind of felt like that, but in a condensed format. So I do think we had some really interesting characters, but I wanted a little bit more depth to them. I felt like it was very surface level when, even though we were talking about such serious topics, I wanted to know more about them. I wanted to know how they navigated them more, and I feel like it was only just touched on. We could have had a lot more. They were really, really interesting characters. This is a contemporary fiction, by the way. Hero of Ages. I think I've got to put this book in it changed my life because this ending was incredible. It changed my life because truly this was like the best ending to a trilogy I could ever have had. It really sent me on my whole Brandon Sanderson journey. I was a mess after finishing this. So yeah, that was one of the very few that really like was to a whole new level. Obviously, this is the last book in the Missed One series, as I said. I originally thought this was a YA series because it's always in the YA section at the bookstore, but I don't actually think. I think it does count as an adult fantasy series for just such incredible magic system. A really, really great place to start if you want to break into the Brandon Sanderson universe, I think. It was where I started and I loved it. Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the fourth and final book in the Natural series. Okay, I feel like I have this weird relationship with Jennifer Lynn Barnes because like I enjoy her books for a certain amount of time and then I usually lose interest. This I probably should have read like a year ago. I should have read this back to back when I was reading the series, but from memory, I was reading this series when I was traveling overseas. So it was a little bit like disjointed, and then when I got back, I wanted to read other books that I'd been putting off because this was obviously a Kindle read, and I was like, I've got these physical books I can read again because I've just been traveling. Yeah, I should have prioritized it more, and I just wanted to finish the series. So I'm actually going to put this in entertained, could have been better. I liked the ending, but I do think it could have been better. I also just don't think I was in the right mood for it. I do recommend this series as a whole. If you want a YA Criminal Minds feeling series, I think you'll really enjoy it. I personally don't like the Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, but I did really I had a fun time reading this, especially the first two. The first two I loved. Death Row by Frey McFadden. This is just a little novella that she came out with this year. Really interesting, actually. A plot twist, and it got me, even though this was, again, 100 pages or something. For such a short thriller, I was surprised to be caught off guard. Okay, oh my god, okay. All I ever wanted to be was hot. This is a non-fiction that I read at the beginning of this year. It was actually one of my in-person book club picks, so that's why I read it. And the back sounded really incredible. It was kind of giving Jeanette McCurdy's book, it felt very similar to that, and I really, really liked that. That was a crazy read, so interesting to read about. This was kind of described on the back as a deep dive into body dysmorphia, growing up in the 2000s when Victoria's Secret models were coming in. It was meant to be this really deep dive into feeling insecure as a woman, and as you grow up, how you can overcome that. And I just felt worse by the time I finished this book. I thought I was going to feel really great about myself, to have these ways that I could feel better about myself when I was having insecure days. No, this made me feel worse about myself than when I started reading it. So this one is not for me. I wouldn't recommend. Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This series, I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with. They're fine, and I read them for brain breaks. What am I going to go with? I think I'm gonna say entertained could be better, because I really liked the first and second in this series, but the last two that I've read, I'll get into the other one as well, just haven't really hit the same for me. This didn't really feel like a cowboy romance. It felt more like a small town romance. It's a marriage of convenience type situation. I did really like our main female protagonist. I like our characters apart, just don't know if I saw the chemistry together. It did give me giggly moments. I did have a fun time. It wasn't hard to get through, but it just didn't really give me the same vibes as the first two books in this series. I think I'm a more Chestnut Springs girl than I am Rose Hill series. Kiss of Deception. Actually, I'm gonna put this in almost perfect, just because I think I gave this a 4.25. So it wasn't super incredibly high rating, but that's a good rating in my books, and a fun time is too low for it. These other books are so much lower than Kiss of Deception. I really want to continue this series in the new year. I think I'm going to love it. Also, if this changes my mind on a love triangle situation, I will be shocked. So this is a YA series. It's actually a prequel to Dance of Thieves, which is one of my favorite duologies. So it's the Remnant Chronicles. We're kind of set in this medieval feeling world, basically. I just want to tell you the plot because I feel like it's so much fun, or the premise. Basically, our main protagonist is a princess, and she runs away from her duties because she doesn't feel like she is up to facing them, basically. She was also meant to have this arranged marriage with a prince that she'd never met. She runs away to this distant village. At the distant village, the prince turns up, but she doesn't know it's him because she's never met him before. And so does an assassin that was sent to kill her, and she starts interacting with these two, and it was just really, really fun. A really fun premise. Ritual by Chloe Elizabeth Wilson. This is another local author, so I really wanted to like this one. I had a fun time, I think. I'm debating between these two because I did think it was good, and I was super addicted to it the entire time. I really liked the writing style, but the actual book kind of got a bit crazy and a bit bizarre towards the end. A lot more thrillery. It's kind of this very real world situation of our protagonist is working at this beauty cosmetics industry, and slowly she kind of gets deeper and deeper, and it gets weirder and weirder, and weird things start happening, and it's very cultish. I'm gonna say I had a fun time. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna say I had a fun time. It wasn't my best read. I think I gave it a 3.5, but it was very entertaining, and I read it so quickly. The Striker by Anna Huang. This is also gonna go in I had a fun time. I know I am the minority, but this is my favorite book by Anna Huang. I don't know why, but I had the best time reading this. I really liked the chemistry between these two. I don't like the Twisted series at all. I guess I'm just a little bit of a sucker for a sports romance, honestly. And this was a Premier League sports romance, so I hadn't read anything like it before. I've only read hockey, so many hockey, and I think basketball, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I was excited about this one. Felt a little bit refreshing, and I actually really liked the chemistry between them. And also, I loved our main protagonist. Our main female protagonist was great. Also, some chronic illness rep in there, so that was really nice. The Crash by Frey McFadden. I'm gonna say I had a fun time. I read this really, really quickly. Frey McFadden blows my mind. She comes out with books so quickly. Was this did she do 4 books this year or something, including the novella? Absolutely crazy. I think she's about to come out with another one. I read every single one of her releases because they're really fun. They're so easy to read. I also just saw the Housemaid movie, and oh my god, Guys, it's so good. I'm so excited for you all to see it. Thought it was fun. I didn't think the twist was absolutely crazy. I've definitely read better by her. Okay, we have An Ember in the Ashes. So I read this at the beginning of the year, started my journey in this series. Oh my gosh, what a great start to this series. I feel mean putting it in I had a fun time because it was so much more. So I'm gonna put it in almost perfect. And speaking of, I'll just go straight on to the second one. This is A Torch Against the Night. Again, almost perfect. Probably my favorite in the series so far. I'm currently reading the fourth one, so I'll let you know how that ends. But this was really good. I really like the world we're set in for this. It's very reminiscent of just like classic fantasy, like older fantasy. I feel like I've explained this so many times on my channel, but if you haven't heard of it, we're following Leia. She goes undercover into a castle to save her brother, and then we're also following Elias, who is like training to be a soldier. I definitely rated the second book higher than the first book because I wanted more magic, and that's what I got in the second book. I got the magic that I wanted. You still get more in the third book, which is even better. Blood over Brighthaven. This is going straight up to, it's a 5-star. This didn't quite like change my life, but I have spent months thinking about the ending of this book. I don't read a lot of standalone fantasies, as you guys probably know. I read a lot of like fantasy series. This is a standalone and it absolutely blew me away. It was my first book by ML Wang. It is like a academic fantasy. Was incredible. I cannot recommend this one enough. I feel like I've talked about it a lot recently in my fantasy awards and everything, so I won't talk about it, but it was incredible. God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I feel like this is going to be controversial. For me, it was a struggle. I could not get behind this book. I found it so hard, but to be fair, like fair on the book, I think I went in with completely wrong expectations. I thought this was going to be like a thriller, but this was more of like a historical crime, I would say. Felt like historical fiction with like crime elements or something like that. We are basically going throughout this mystery of a girl who went missing at camp. I really liked the writing style of this, but the actual plot I found so slow. It was also so much longer than I thought because I was reading it on Kindle, so I didn't have like the physical book. I feel like I'm the minority on this one, but I do think it could have been better. I'm just so sorry. Let me know though if you also found this quite boring, because that's the best way I can describe it. Like the actual character's great, the writing great, the plot was so boring for me, and I think if I went in with different expectations I would have enjoyed it so much more, or just in a different mood, because I am unfortunately a mood reader. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen. I'm gonna go entertained, could have been better. Again, I feel like you guys know my thoughts on this one, but I really liked the premise of this. We are following two individuals who reincarnate basically, and in every lifetime before they turn 18 they end up killing each other and then reincarnate and meet each other again in a different lifetime. And I really like that whole premise. I think it's really cool, but the ending was just a bit out of the blue for me. I was like, it kind of feels like just a random way to conclude this, and it was a really hard premise to conclude. Like you think about that premise, how is that going to be concluded? How are they going to stop killing each other in every lifetime? Like what do you mean? There was so many elements I liked. The first like 60% I really enjoyed, but the last like 40% really lost me. So that brought my rating down so much more than I thought it was going to. Really liked the writing though. Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I'm gonna say I had a fun time. I did really enjoy this. I really like Olivia Blake's writing, so that's a great one for me. I have been putting it off for such a long time, then I finally did it. Honestly, I was also really scared because I'd seen so many different opinions on it. This again was kind of like, I really enjoyed the first, I would say about 80-90% of this, and then the ending was a little bit confusing for me. I think I will continue the series because I'm curious to see where we'll go, but it just hasn't been on my priority. Like I haven't read this and gone, I absolutely need to read the rest of the series immediately. Like it's just kind of been like, yeah, I'll get to it. It's not a good habit. Do not pick it up from me. The Ex-Wives Club by Sally Hepworth. This was actually my first book by her. It's just a little novella as well. Entertained, could be better. It was a little novella. It can't be that incredible. There was elements that I didn't like, some little statements that made me a little bit uncomfortable, and I was like, you don't really need to say that, but anyway. I only read that recently. The Will of the Many. Okay, I actually think there's more books that changed my life this year than I realized. Because I think that might be another one. I have not stopped thinking about this book since I read it. We're gonna have to like slowly stagger it up here. It's too big a gap. Yeah, I think this book changed my life. Have I shut up about this book since I read it? No. You guys know what it's about. I'm sure you do. If not, just watch any of my other videos within the past 2 months and you will. Anyway, Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I had a fun time, guys. I had a really great time in this one. Was it almost perfect? No, no way. But it was really fun. I'm just gonna leave it there. It was super spicy. That was probably my one thing that deterred me a bit from it. I really liked the whole setting of it. Competitive swimmer and competitive diver. I thought that was really cool. So I really liked the whole setting of it. It was just very spicy, but like that's Ali Hazelwood for you. I'm not even gonna lie. That's kind of what you have to get yourself into. Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Again, this is gonna be a very big category, but I had a fun time. It was probably one of my favorite thrillers of the year. Great to see Holly Jackson breaking into the adult thriller world, because I've read a lot of her, I think all of her other YA thrillers, and I love them. I think Five Survive is still my favorite book by her. She just has really interesting premises. Like, it was spanned over like 7 days. She was solving her own murder. It was really entertaining, a very different thriller. So if you're wanting something that's going to feel a bit refreshing, I do recommend. Alchemized. I feel like I haven't talked about this one too much since I read it in a vlog. This one's really, really hard for me. I think I'm going to go with Almost Perfect. I gave this a lower rating than you would have thought, but I'm not going to put it in fun time because that's a very different vibe. I think I gave this a 4.25. My biggest thing, it just felt like it was a second book in a series to me. There was so much I didn't know, and that worked in the first half, I would say, of the book. It was good that I didn't know, because it felt like I was right there with the protagonist, who was like trying to remember things, trying to get her memory back. But even once we got the backstory, I feel like there was still more. I needed more. I needed to know why she was so committed to people, like where all this came from, basically. And I just feel like it was a really, really well written book. It was crazy. I was so sad over it. I don't know. It's always really hard with hyped up books like that as well. I think you expect a little bit more. I also wasn't expecting the romance to be such a prevalent part, because when I had talked about it being a romantasy before, people had criticized me in my comments being like, it's not a romantasy. Don't go in thinking that. Like, why are you saying that? And I was like, I don't know. I just knew that the romance was a strong part of it. I would say this is a romantasy to me after reading it. Like, not saying that that deters from the seriousness of it, because it does cover some really serious topics, but the romance was such a big part of it, or the relationship, I feel like is a better word for it. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is also going to go in the same category for me. I didn't quite give this a 5 stars just because there were 1 or 2 elements that knocked it back, but it was a 4.75 for me, so it was really, really high. I really enjoyed it. I know, again, a lot of people didn't, but I had the best time with it. I like to describe this as like, if you like Happy Place, you will love Great Big Beautiful Life, but if you like Beach Read, you might not, because I feel like Emily Henry has 2 very different sides to her, 2 very different types of books that she creates, and this one was a very much a contemporary fiction with romance thrown in there. Mate by Ali Hazelwood is also going to go in a fun time. I was giggling and kicking my feet over this. I loved the chemistry between our characters, but there were elements that made me a little bit uncomfortable, just a little bit too much wolf, if you will. I know it's a werewolf romance, but that was it for me. I just couldn't quite do the amount of wolf. But overall, I really liked the chemistry. I loved our main protagonists. It was a really fun book. A paranormal romance, by the way, not a fantasy romance. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Not only is it a 5-star, it changed my life. Top read of the entire year. I think I can safely say that now. It blew me away. I was bawling my eyes out over this. Taylor Jenkins Reid, I swear to God, she has this way of like reaching in and touching my soul. It's crazy. I don't know how she writes so well. This is a 6-star read for me. Again, I've talked about it so much, I feel like I don't need to. For No Mortal Creature, I'm tossing up between a fun time and it could have been better. I really liked the premise for this one. This was a recent read. It's kind of like Inception with a tragic love story, but instead of dreams, you're doing layers of death, of like passing away. So that was a really cool premise. It just didn't keep me engaged the entire time. I'm gonna go entertained. I definitely was entertained, but there was aspects that I definitely would have improved. Again, this could have been my mood that really played a part in it, but some of the characters just, they weren't really for me. The Inmate by Frey McFadden. I'm trying to distinguish. Oh yes, this one was really good. This one was crazy, actually. The plot twists were insane. I'm gonna put it in fun time though. You know what? No, Almost Perfect. Almost Perfect. That's how good this one was. It was one of my favorites I've read by her, actually, and it creeped me out. Silver Cloak, I think I'm gonna go Almost Perfect for this one as well. I had a really great time reading this. Just a really unique kind of magic system. We had magic wands involved, which was really fun, and actual enemies to lovers. Again, I feel like I've talked about this one, and all of you have said you've read it, have also really enjoyed it. It makes me so happy because I feel like it's really underhyped at the moment. Blood Trader by Lynette Noni. This is the 3rd book in the Prison Healer series. I'm gonna go 5-star. That was so easy. What a conclusion to this YA dystopian series. Blew my mind. I was on the edge of my seat while I was reading this book. I was so scared, and I loved every single second of it. But yeah, we have like this, it just kept getting better and better, this series. I cannot recommend it enough. Blood Moon. This was an arc I got. I'm gonna go here. It was a struggle for me. The reason being, it felt exactly like Twilight. Like there were way too many similarities for this. I'm really confused on how it was published, to be honest. Just because there were so many similarities to Twilight. Like from names, from the fact that she was living with her dad in a small town and going to not a high school, but a university there. And her dad was chief of police and like all these random things. And then there was 2 love interests. It just felt like I was reading Twilight again. So that's why that one's there. I feel like I don't want to slander it too much though. Catabasis. I'm gonna go Almost Perfect for Catabasis. Definitely elements I would have liked to be improved, but it was an introduction to R.F. Kuang for me. and I really loved her writing. I loved the layers to this world. I loved characters. I do think we could have gotten a little bit more from some of our characters. I loved our little sidekick we had, like our animal sidekick. Just the whole perception of death, like of the underworld, the past world, was really, really cool, and I really liked seeing it. Okay, this one is Project Hail Mary. Originally, I rated this a 4.75, but honestly, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since I read it. So I think it's going to 5 stars because truly, I have not been able to stop thinking about it, and I am so excited for the movie to come out. This is a sci-fi by Andy Weir. I definitely want to read more by him. Strength of the Few by James Islington. Again, recently read this one. This one is gonna go here. It's a 5 star. Was so good. It didn't quite impact me the same as Will of the Many, but I truly think that's just because I knew what I was in for this time, whereas Will of the Many was just like out of the blue, oh my god, this was crazy experience. Strength of the Few though, nothing bad to say. Like, it was incredible, an incredibly complicated plot, and yet James Islington did it so well. His execution was perfect, and for such a complicated plot, I understood a lot of what was going on. Like, sometimes I had to like stop and think about it. Okay, hang on, before we do this one, I want to do this one because the Rewind It Back's the last one, so we'll do Play Along first. I liked Play Along. I'm gonna say it was a fun time. This is the 4th book, I believe, in the Windy City series. It's a marriage of convenience, and I did really, really enjoy this. I thought it was really fun. I had a really great time, but I read Rewind It Back, and I loved it so much. The chemistry between these two was crazy, crazy good. I didn't expect to be getting butterflies over these. Like, who would have thought that? My computer died, so we just had to take a mini break, but we're back. Reaper at the Gates. This is the 3rd book in Ember and the Ashes series. I think I'm gonna put it as almost perfect as well. To be honest, this entire series to me is almost perfect. There's little elements that I wanted more of. I did want more magic in the series, but you know, maybe the last book will really up it. It is really good so far, but this was again just almost perfect. There are moments where I do feel a little bit like it's a little bit slow. I get taken out of it, so I don't know, maybe that's something. It was so good. Like, this is such a good series, guys. I loved it. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I'm gonna put it in a fun time, like a really fun small town romance. I do think it could have been a little bit shorter, but she does like small town romance is so good, and the chemistry between them was so good. Did I read that at the beginning of the year? That feels so long ago. That's crazy. Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Easily entertained, but could have been better. I just feel like this gave second book syndrome. Also, I loved in Powerless, like the slow burn of this, and it literally happened so fast in this. Like, this sent the main relationship in this series just like on like a speed level, like it pressed fast forward basically in my mind. I thought it was fine, but I didn't love it. I did get a little bit bored during it. Following that up though, Fearless, I'm gonna say I had a fun time. The pacing of this book was really odd to me. I think I gave it a 4 stars, but I'd probably give it like a 3.75 maybe. Like, it was a really good story. I loved the essence of the story, but the pacing was so odd to me. I feel like everything happened within the last 20%. There could have been hints towards it. Like in 20% in, you could have been hinting to things that are gonna happen later in the series, and it would have tied it all together so much. I haven't read the last little novella in this series yet, but I think out of this entire series, Powerful, the novella, the second novella, is definitely my favorite. Speaking of novellas, Cruel Winter with You, just a little Christmas novella. I'm just gonna put it here because like, it was fine, it was cute, but it is like 80 pages, so it's almost like a little bit of a cop-out. It's like, I feel bad that I put that towards my reading goal. Okay, Brandon Sanderson, Warbreaker. I'm gonna say almost perfect. I think I gave this a 4.25. I really enjoyed this one. This is a standalone to Brandon Sanderson. This is another great starting point, I would say, to Brandon Sanderson. I was recommended to read this for like good reason before I went into Words of Radiance. I think it's a really great place to start if you don't want to commit to his entire series. All of his books that I've read so far are similar magic systems, but like a tiny bit different, which is quite cool. This one was based off like color and light and everything like that. It was very cool. The Book of Azrael. I'm gonna go fun time. Honestly surprised me. I didn't expect to like this book. I did think it was a lot darker, and the reason I haven't continued this series is because I've heard it does turn into quite a dark fantasy romance, and I like fantasy romance. I haven't done a lot of dark romance. I've done a few on accident and I didn't really like them. So I'm still a little bit nervous to like dive into that genre, and I don't know if I'll like it because I kind of prefer small interactions and like a build up of chemistry rather than a lot of spice. And obviously in dark romances there's more spice, so yeah, it was good. Like, the first book was really good. I'm just really scared to continue the rest of the series. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Oh my god, so easily a 5 stars. This was incredible. I know that some people either absolutely love Addie LaRue or just not be for them. I was really scared that I wasn't going to like it, and I loved it. So now I just want to work through everything V. Schwab has ever written. But this was absolutely amazing to me. I felt so much for Addie. I loved Addie as a character. One of my favorite characters I have ever read about, hands down. You will either love or hate this book, but you know, if you have similar reading taste to me, I'd say you would love it, especially if you've read anything by Vishwa before. Okay, releasing 10. Now look, I didn't give this book a rating. I'm gonna go almost perfect. I didn't actually give this book a rating just because it dealt with really sensitive topics. And when it came out, there was a lot of controversy about it. And just please do not read this if you're under 18. But then Chloe Walsh came out with a statement saying that this is actually based on a lot of her real life experiences. So like just added a whole new layer to this book. And it felt weird rating it. So I don't know that I would rate it now. I just love this series with my whole heart though. Like Boys of Tommen is my everything. It will always be my everything. These characters are the world to me. And this was a heart-aching book to read. And it definitely wasn't my favorite out of the entire series, but I think it was pretty emotional. It was an emotional journey. 7 Sleepless Nights. This is a little novella to the Boys of Tommen. I'm going to put entertained but could have been better just because this is like lots of little collections of prequels and sequels to the Boys of Tommen, but also to her other series called The Carter Kids. And I haven't read that series yet. So I could only read like the chapters. So I would say about like 70% of the book, the chapters of the characters I knew. So we're just going to put it into entertained just because I feel like that's most appropriate. Sky Shade is also going to go there. This series is like, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I actually really like the whole premise of this series. Like having an island that appears every 100 years, the first book at least, I really like that premise and I like a trials aspect, but it's the love triangle, guys. I just cannot do love triangles. So that's what really deters me from this series, and it sucks because I do think I could have really enjoyed it. Onyx Storm. I'm gonna go I had a fun time. I feel like I've talked about this series a lot this year as well, but Onyx Storm was good. It was better than Iron Flame for me personally, but I'm just not as connected to the characters as a lot of people are, and I don't find the main love story very, like, I'm not into it. I'm reading this series for the dragons and for the setting. I'm not reading it for the characters, if that makes sense. So I don't think I'm ever going to get a 5-star read out of this series. I don't know if I'll continue it or not, but I do think it's fun. The Rebel Witch, I wasn't expecting anything incredible from this one, so I think that helped my experience of it because I know a lot of people were let down by this, but I read The Crimson Moth ages ago. I got an ARC for it actually, so I read it before like the hype was kind of surrounding it, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a really fun YA fantasy book. We're following like witches. I wanted more witches, to be honest, but anyway. And The Rebel Witch was good. I think it was a good continuation. I kind of hoped for a little bit more though. I didn't think it was anything outstanding, but it was fun. Same with Direbound for me. I thought this was a really fun read. The Direwolves I loved. Very similar to Fourth Wing to me though. I really liked the Direwolves. I really liked the whole setting of this, the whole plot. Didn't love the characters, wasn't rooting for the romance. So I feel like that just kind of, you know, you have to even it out. I think I gave it a 3.75. Like, it's a good book. I would recommend if you want a fun romantasy to read. It's very addictive, very easy to read, but just not my favorite romantasy I've read. The Tenant by Freda McFadden. This is one of her newer releases this year as well. I'm gonna say entertained but could have been better. This is probably one of my least favorite books I've read by Freda McFadden. Do you ever just get like a weird icky feeling from thrillers? Because that's what I got from this book. So I think it was good, but there's definitely other thrillers I read this year by her that I liked a lot more, and it just kind of puts it in perspective. I'd still recommend it though. It's a fun book. A River Enchanted. Okay, this is gonna have to go with Almost Perfect, I think. This was beautiful. I just love Rebecca Ross so much. I think she's such an incredible author. Her writing is so lyrical, so beautiful, so whimsical, but so addictive, and that's just such a fine balance to hit. I actually haven't read the second book in this one yet, or the, you know, final one. It's only a duology. I don't know why. Every time I go to the bookstore, I either just forget about it or it's not in stock. I need to do that. I need to put that on a priority. I completely forgot about that. I think I'll pick it up fine because it's not that complicated of a plot, and I did really like it a lot more than I thought I would. People Watching by Hannah Bottom Young. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go entertained but could have been better. It just, I don't love the trope in this. I really liked our characters apart. I didn't love them together. I loved the setting of it. I did do a reading vlog on this one kind of recently as well though, so I won't talk about it too much, but it just had like the friends with benefits trope, and I've never read that executed to a way that I love it. Like, I've never read it and been obsessed with it, so maybe that's another trope my thoughts need to change on. I don't know. Save Me by Mona Caston. I'm gonna say entertained could have been better. This is probably one of the only times a movie adaptation to be better than the book. Crazy. This was also translated from German, so I do think that may have played into like how easy it was to read and the actual like prose of it. The chemistry between them in the TV series though is so good. This was still fun though. It's a fun romance, a fun like college setting romance. Holding the Reins is kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of torn between these two categories, but I think I'm gonna go with entertained because it was entertaining. There was just way too much spice and it was way too quick into the spice for me to be like fully, I don't know, you know, immersed in it. I was like, okay, this is like 3 chapters in a row. We can stop. The Favorites by Lane Fargo. You guys know this is easily, no, not even almost perfect. I have to like slowly move it up. This is a 5 stars for me. So cool to see it all laid out. This is easily a 5 stars for me. This was, oh my gosh, so frustrating in the best way possible. If you like Gossip Girl, if you like Magnolia Parks, anything like that, I think you'll really, really enjoy this. If you like Daisy Jones and the Six, like that toxic kind of competitive environment, it's so frustrating and you get so annoyed at your characters, but like in the best way possible. Conditions of Will. Okay, initially I rated this a 5 stars. I will say I think the things that have come to light about this author have definitely made my perception of it a little bit different, which I try and separate it, but it's really hard. I think I'm gonna go... should we do almost perfect? It was, you know what? I have to stay true to my rating. It was a 5 stars. It was a 5 stars. We're going to put it in 5 stars. We're going to stay true to ourselves, okay? I did actually really like this story. The Raven Scholar. I actually put this one in, I'm going to go like almost perfect because I don't think I rated it a 5 stars. There was a few elements that I probably wanted a little bit more of. There was some slow moments in it. But this, you guys know, this was one of the most unique fantasies I read this year and I loved every single second of it. It was so refreshing, so great. Every trope that it embodied, it did really, really well. And I loved our characters and you just weren't sure where the story was gonna go. A Harvest of Hearts. We're gonna go, it was a fun time. This is the best way I can describe this is Studio Ghibli, specifically Howl's Moving Castle meets Immortal Dark. It had like this dark aspect to it, but it was very Howl's Moving Castle, the movie. I haven't read the book and I've heard they're quite different. So Wandering Wild, I know that a lot of people didn't love this, but I feel like I went into this knowing it was a very, very YA romance and that's what it was. It's a YA like adventure romance. It's really cute. It was Lynette Noni's first break into this genre. For that reason, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was sweet. I thought it was cute. Nothing incredible though. Like it probably could. No, I'm gonna put it there. It's staying there. It was good. Kristen Hannah, The Nightingale. This is easily going in almost perfect. The only reason this isn't in a 5-star category, because this truly was an incredible story, is that I guessed a big, or like I assumed a big plot twist in this book. Therefore, the ending wasn't as impactful for me. It was like a 4.75. It was so close to perfect. And I bawled my eyes out and I highly recommend it. Like I definitely want to read more by Kristen Hannah. The Intruder by Freida McFadden. I'm gonna go could have been better. Again, I won't talk about it too much, but I feel like this was one of the ones that I was like, it was good, but kind of a little bit, I don't know, you could kind of see where the plot was going the entire time. It's like an isolated cabin in the woods situation. So it's a good vibe. Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this might surprise you, but it's actually going to go in almost perfect. Just because there were a few elements that I thought were a little bit slow, but you needed it to be slow. So it's an imperfect book for the greater good, if that makes sense, because I thought this set it up so well. It set up the foundation. It was a very confusing book to get my head around. You were meeting so many characters, getting to know our world, everything like that. But then that meant you could go on to Words of Radiance and just be absolutely changed. This book changed my life. This book was incredible. I loved every single second of it. I love our characters so much. I cannot wait to continue the Stormlight Archive. Again, I talked about this one so recently, but this series, I am so glad that I read this year. Like, it was incredible. The Rose Bargain, I'm gonna say it was a fun time. This is a YA fantasy. It's very Bridgerton meets The Selection meets like Cassandra Clare vibes. I'm definitely gonna continue the series because I think it is a series. No, it has to be with that ending. And I actually did really enjoy it. Okay, Wildcard, I'm gonna put here as well. So in the same as Wildside. Wildcard, I didn't love as much. I don't know, just our characters kind of annoyed me, to be honest, so I don't really know. It just wasn't the most amazing book, but I did listen to this entirely on audio, and that is the first book I have ever listened to entirely on audio. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. This is gonna go in, it was a struggle. I had really high hopes for this one because I'd seen a lot of people really enjoy it, but for me, it did not hit. I thought the humor was really crude. I didn't like our characters. There wasn't a lot I liked about this, and it really was a push for me to get through. Dawn of the Firebird. I'm gonna put this in almost perfect. This was a high fantasy. We did interview the author for this on our podcast. Really, really unique high fantasy. I really loved the cultural aspects that had been intertwined into the magic system, into the political system, even into our characters. I thought it was beautiful. There were some elements, like just the pacing of it, I found a little bit confusing. Some elements I think I like genuinely just didn't understand. Like I needed to understand it better. That makes it just like a little bit less than perfect, but it was really, really good. Okay, here we go. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Now this is actually gonna go go up into almost perfect as well. This is probably one of my favorite thrillers I have ever read. If you are gonna read a thriller, read this one. It is so good. It is so, so good. I knew everyone saying it was good and it was just better than I thought. The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is also gonna go into almost perfect. I actually didn't rate this one a 5 stars. I just didn't get that 5-star feeling about it as well. But I loved the magic system. Again, I've talked about this so much. I loved the world. I delve into that one in my fantasy awards and I feel like I just talked about that, so I won't go into too much detail. Same with Enchantra. I also talked about this. A really great fantasy romance. It's going in almost perfect. The Defender. Actually, I'm gonna go there. I think the Defender was fun, but I liked the Striker a lot more. I think the Defender, I needed more from our characters. I needed more chemistry and I needed it to be, yeah, have a little bit more depth to our characters. The Cursed Melodies, I'm actually gonna put here as well, just because this was a really fun book. Like, it was a really like entertaining read. It just was very, very YA and I didn't quite realize that. Like, I think it's aimed at like 13-year-olds. So I went in expecting like 16-year-olds or something, very, very young. But if you're into that, I think it's a really cute book. Like, it was really entertaining. But this is just a cute little one. Hot for the Slayer. Actually, you know what? Let's put it here. It was a really fun book. It's a little novella, Halloween novella. I read this around Halloween and it hit really well. We Three Heroes. I'm gonna put in Fun Time as well. This is a collection of short stories to the Madoran Chronicles. You guys know how much I love the Madoran Chronicles by Lynette Noni. This was actually so much more emotional than I thought it was going to be. It really caught me off guard. Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Again, I've talked a lot about this one. This one's gonna go in 5 stars. I don't know if I rated it 5 stars when I originally read it, but it stuck with me. Like, it stuck with me so much, so I think I have to. If you can hear that noise, I'm not sure if you can, but I am so, so sorry. We are almost done. My neighbors. Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with a fun time for this one. I loved it when I read it, but thinking back on it, it was pitched as an adult fantasy. I felt like it was more a YA fantasy with adult characters, and I had so many questions after finishing this book. I am so glad it's gonna be a series because there was way too many questions left unanswered. I feel like it has really good potential for the rest of the series. I loved the whole setting of it as well. I would highly recommend. Capturing the Devil. I'm actually gonna go here for this one. This is the last book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Again, had a fun time reading it, but I also just don't know if I was in the mood. And again, I left a really long time in between reading this series and then finally finishing it. Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I read this because the movie came out and I went to see the movie and I just wanted to know it. I wanted to read the book first. It was a struggle. Same with Familiar Stranger by A.R. Torr. I have read some thrillers by A.R. Torr before and absolutely loved them. This was not there was some themes I didn't like. Oh my god, Kingdom of Copper though. This is the second book to City of Brass. This was a 5-star read for me. Whenever has a second book been the best in the series? I don't know, but it blew me away. Let's go to Empire of Gold straight away. This for me was almost perfect. It was absolutely beautiful, an incredible conclusion to this trilogy. I gave it a 4.75. I cannot recommend this trilogy enough. Like, please, 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 please go read it. It's like a Middle Eastern, Egyptian inspired magic system, really interesting world. Our characters were wonderful. I was obsessed with it. Daisy Darker. This was the other book I read by Alice Feeney. Again, it was good. It was fine. Very interesting plot, but like I kind of wanted a little bit more from it. I don't know. I feel like that was a lot of her books, and then Rock, Paper, Scissors were just incredible. Breaking Point, I'm gonna go with Almost Perfect. This was actually a very emotional read. This is by Mads Rafferty, and I've only read fantasy books and her thriller before, but this actually caught me off guard. I was so, so sad when I read this. Oh my god, and that's it. That is it, guys. That is our entire rankings. These are my Change My Life books, my 5 stars. This is our final ranking. You can see I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a really good final ranking. But that brings us to the end of today's video. If you have made it this far, if you have watched all the way to the end, thank you so, so much for watching. That is absolutely crazy to me. Thank you for being here. If you've watched all of my Bookmas videos, if you've watched 3 or 1 of my Bookmas videos, thank you so, so much for your support. It truly means the world to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful end of the year. It's time to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, of course. I just cannot express how grateful I am for you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for everything you've done for me this year. We have built such an incredible community this year and I can't wait to go into 2026 with you guys. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed me ranking all my reads from the year. I hope I didn't forget any, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you in my next video. I will see you next year.